They will regret losing you. Don't take them back. Denzel Washington. In the whirlwind of life, there will be moments when people fail to see your worth, only to realize it when you're no longer within reach. It's tempting, almost natural, to let them back into your life once regret sets in. But pause and remember, your value doesn't diminish when others fail to recognize it. Today, on Stoic in Your Life, we dive into the powerful lesson of why you should not take them back without genuine change. Anchored in wisdom and reinforced by Denzel Washington's inspiring words, we'll explore how to reclaim your self-worth and protect your inner peace. Stay with us as we dissect why those who left will regret losing you, and why your resilience is the most profound response. 1. Initial shock and pain of losing someone. Experiencing the sudden loss of someone you believed would be a constant in your life is a gut-wrenching blow. It's as if the very ground beneath your feet has been ripped away, leaving you gasping, disoriented, and struggling to make sense of it all. In those moments, it feels like the world has shrunk, narrowing down to the raw, relentless ache in your chest. But here's the truth that modern Stoicism whispers to those willing to listen. This pain, as searing as it is not the final chapter. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This isn't just poetic wisdom, it's a roadmap through the chaos. You need to understand that not everyone who comes into your life is meant to stay. Some are only there to teach you who you are without them, and that's a lesson that demands every ounce of your resilience. When someone makes the choice to walk away, it's a moment that reveals more about their journey and priorities than it does about your worth. It's easy to let their exit plant seeds of doubt in your mind, making you question if you were enough or if you did something wrong. But pause here and let the words of Epictetus guide you. We are not disturbed by things but by the view we take of them. The choices people make are reflections of their character and needs, not indicators of your value. In the realm of Stoic secrets, this realization is powerful. It helps you separate your self-worth from the actions and decisions of others. This isn't about downplaying the pain. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about feeling deeply but choosing not to let those feelings control the narrative of your life. Modern life, with its rapid pace and fleeting connections, often leaves people scrambling for validation. Social media and constant digital noise amplify the pressure to be seen and acknowledged. But when someone important leaves, it's as if a light switches off, thrusting you into an emotional darkness. This is when the iron mind, a pillar of Stoic strength, becomes essential. Building an iron mind doesn't mean shutting down emotionally. It means cultivating resilience so that the storm outside doesn't shake the foundation within. You hold fast to your core, not allowing the absence of someone else to rewrite your value. Remember, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us. This lesson couldn't be more relevant today, in a world where distraction and superficial relationships are the norm. When someone leaves, the initial reaction is often to focus on what was lost, the plans that will never come to pass, and the comfort that's suddenly gone. But Stoicism teaches that this is just one layer of reality. Beneath it lies the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to recenter your life around your own well-being. Letting them go isn't an act of bitterness. It's an act of profound self-respect. And while it's natural to feel a pang when they later realize what they've lost, don't let their regret be your validation. By then, you will have evolved into someone they no longer have the right to know. This isn't just about moving on. It's about moving up, elevating yourself to a place where your peace isn't up for negotiation. We often underestimate the power of shifting from a mindset of loss to one of learning. What does this experience teach you about yourself? Where does it leave space for your growth? Modern Stoicism invites you to not just accept, but to use every experience as fuel for becoming a better, wiser version of yourself. The philosopher Seneca said, Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. It's a reminder that life is a series of transitions, and every goodbye holds the potential for a richer hello somewhere down the line. In today's world where people often chase momentary highs, choosing to cultivate a strong, unwavering sense of self is a revolutionary act. So take this time to anchor yourself in what matters. Understand that while the initial shock may knock you down, your comeback is what defines you. Don't just survive their absence, thrive because of it. Reconnect with the parts of you that may have been overshadowed when they were around. Find joy in your own company and strength in your solitude. This is where true empowerment lies. And if the day comes when they regret leaving, let that be their burden to bear, not yours. Your story isn't defined by who left, but by how you carried on. Your iron mind, cultivated through modern stoicism, becomes your greatest asset in navigating life's unpredictability. As you move forward, embrace this mantra: you are whole, even when others choose to walk away. Let your journey be proof that true strength doesn't come from holding on to those who let go. It comes from holding on to yourself, fiercely and unapologetically. And when you do this, not only do you reclaim your peace, but you also become an inspiration for others facing their own storms. In the end, you find that the most profound wisdom lies not in trying to change what happens to you, but in changing how you respond to it. And that, as the Stoics have taught us, is where real freedom begins. 2. The realization of your worth. Realizing your self-worth is often a revelation that dawns when someone decides to walk away from your life. It's during these moments, when you're left standing amidst the emotional wreckage, that the true weight of your value begins to crystallize. You are not meant to be someone's fallback plan, the convenient option they turn to when all else fails. Valuing yourself is about setting boundaries and upholding standards that ensure only those who truly appreciate you can stay in your life. This is a fundamental practice rooted in Stoic principles, recognizing that your worth is inherent and non-negotiable. The moment you truly embrace this understanding, it changes how you perceive yourself, and, more importantly, how others perceive and treat you. This shift isn't just empowering, it's life-changing. You stop waiting for external validation and begin to command respect simply by knowing and asserting your value. Think of a time when someone who left you later came back with regret, realizing too late what they had lost. Time, with all its subtleties, has a way of making people confront the consequences of their decisions, but just because someone realizes your worth after walking away doesn't mean they deserve to reclaim a spot in your life. Let me share a story that might resonate. A friend of mine, who had been in a long-term relationship, was left unexpectedly when their partner decided they wanted something more. The breakup was devastating, but in that pain they began to focus on themselves, pursuing passions, nurturing friendships, and rebuilding their confidence. Years later, their former partner returned, regret written all over their face, seeking a second chance. It was tempting, of course, to revert to old comforts. But my friend, fortified by the growth they had undergone, knew that taking them back would undermine their journey. This experience is a stark reminder of a Stoic rule that is often overlooked. Your worth does not fluctuate based on someone else's ability to see it. Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This principle tells us that self-respect means not allowing people back into your life simply because they now understand what they had when it suits them. True power lies in maintaining your standards, even in the face of someone else's regret. The hardest part for many is reconciling forgiveness with self-respect. Forgiving someone doesn't mean erasing the lessons learned or welcoming them back into your life. It's about releasing resentment so you can move forward unburdened. But forgiveness is not synonymous with a second chance. When you grow from these experiences, you develop a deep understanding that your peace and self-worth are not contingent on anyone's acknowledgement. It's not about being bitter or unforgiving. It's about enforcing a boundary that prioritizes your well-being. You deserve relationships that recognize your value from day one, without the need for loss or hindsight. Ask yourself this: why should you settle for someone who had to leave to understand what they had? This isn't about ego. It's about adhering to Stoic principles that protect your peace and reinforce the standards you set for your life. Now, how does this apply to modern life, where relationships and connections often come and go at the speed of a text message? The transient nature of modern relationships can make it easy for people to undervalue what they have until it's gone. Social media is filled with stories of people only realizing someone's worth once they're out of reach. But you, standing in the truth of who you are, don't have to play that game. When someone circles back with regret, hoping to slip into the space they once occupied, remember that the growth you've achieved wasn't for nothing. You are not obligated to reopen doors that life has helped you close. This is where the Stoic secret of emotional resilience comes in. You choose who has access to your energy and time. And what is the lesson here for you? It's knowing that you are allowed to say no without guilt. You're allowed to protect your peace and maintain the progress you've made, even if someone shows remorse. Their realization doesn't entitle them to a place in your future. True relationships are built with people who see your worth without needing loss as a lens. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Don't waste your precious time waiting for someone to value you after the fact. Focus instead on building and nurturing relationships with those who are present and appreciative from the start. Remember, setting boundaries is an act of self-love and respect. It tells others that your peace, happiness, and growth are non-negotiable. When you start to prioritize these things, you begin to attract people who respect them too. This doesn't mean you shut the world out or become hardened. It means you choose wisely and don't compromise on what you know you deserve. Embrace the Stoic wisdom that reminds you that your worth is intrinsic, not a reflection of who stays or who goes. In a world where people often realize value only in hindsight, be the person who knows their worth from the beginning and holds others to that same standard. Because in the end, true strength is not just in knowing your value, but in living it. 3. The difference between regret and change. Regret is a powerful emotion, but it doesn't always signify real transformation. When someone who walked away from your life returns, filled with remorse and apologies, it's vital to recognize the difference between their regret and genuine change. Regret often reflects how they feel, an acknowledgement of what they miss, and how their actions have affected them. But ask yourself this: does their regret mean they have truly evolved, or is it just a reaction to their loss? As Marcus Aurelius, a master of Stoicism, once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This Stoic lesson emphasizes that actions, not words, reveal true change. Someone who genuinely values you will demonstrate their growth not through promises or emotional appeals, but through consistent, reliable actions that align with their newfound commitment to being better. It's essential to guard your heart against patterns that repeat without progress. If someone comes back into your life, bringing only regret and no evidence of genuine transformation, it's like welcoming back the storm expecting sunshine. Regret is easy. It's an emotional response that can fade as quickly as it appeared. True change, on the other hand, is hard. It demands self-reflection, accountability, and a conscious effort to be different. Have you noticed how some people can say all the right things yet their actions tell another story? This is where you must lean on one of the core Stoic lessons. Trust what you see, not just what you hear. The comfort of familiarity can be deceiving, blurring the line between true growth and fleeting guilt. Regret can be self-serving, focused more on their discomfort with the consequences than on making things right for you. It's easy for someone to express that they miss you, to say they're sorry when the weight of their choices becomes too much to bear. But the question remains: have they done the work to become someone different? As the Stoics teach us, Real growth is measured by actions that align with words, not empty promises. The philosopher Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This means that moving forward should only happen when it is built on solid ground, not on the shaky foundation of unproven regret. Can they demonstrate that they've learned from their mistakes? Have they put in the effort to change their behavior and mindset? These are the questions you should ask yourself when regret knocks at your door. When you're standing at the crossroads, faced with the decision to open the door to your past or step forward into the unknown future. It's tempting to let nostalgia and hope guide your choices, but remember that your self-worth is not tied to someone else's realization of your value only after you're gone. Returning to a past relationship without concrete evidence of change is like reading the same book expecting a different ending. You deserve more than apologies. You deserve actions that show the person has earned a place in your future. If they have taken real steps to grow, if they show respect and understanding in their behavior, then perhaps there is room for reconciliation. But if their regret is merely an echo of their loss, without the actions that prove growth, it's wise to protect your peace. This is where modern stoicism intersects with everyday life. We live in a fast-paced world where it's easy for people to rush back into relationships out of loneliness or convenience, confusing regret with redemption. But you must be vigilant. You must learn to see beyond words and temporary emotions. Your happiness is not a revolving door for those who left and only return when it suits them. Are they returning because they've truly realized your worth and have worked to become someone who deserves a second chance? Or are they simply trying to fill the void left behind by their own choices? This is where your understanding of Stoic principles will serve you best. Realize that part of self-respect is being discerning about who you allow back into your life. It's not about being unforgiving or cold-hearted. It's about recognizing that true growth takes time and effort. A person who values you will show up with actions, not just words. They will prove through consistent behavior that they've learned and changed. You have the right to assess these actions, to question whether they reflect genuine transformation or simply the pain of regret. Because at the end of the day, your peace, your growth, and your future are worth protecting. Why should you settle for anything less than real change? Think about this and consider whether their remorse matches the actions needed to prove it. The true power of Stoic lessons lies in knowing your worth and having the strength to uphold it. Remember, you are not a convenience, nor are you defined by someone's late realization of what they lost. You are the guardian of your well-being, and letting someone back into your life should only come from evidence of their commitment to being better, not from regret alone. 4. Moving forward. Without looking back. Growth demands that we let go of what was and focus on what lies ahead, even when the past feels heavy with memories and the heart aches to revisit familiar places. When someone walks out of your life, it's natural to feel the urge to look back, hoping to make sense of the void left behind. But moving forward isn't just about healing. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that has been shaped by the lessons life has given you. Modern Stoicism teaches that real strength lies in using pain as a catalyst for growth. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." This wisdom serves as a reminder that whatever challenges may come, the tools you have honed through past struggles, your resilience, wisdom, and newfound perspective, are enough to navigate them. In modern life, especially for men who have seen decades come and go, the past can feel like a weight that holds nostalgia and regret in equal measure. But here's the thing. Reopening old chapters without growth risks unraveling the progress you've made. It's easy to be tempted by memories when they tug at your heart. But ask yourself, what do you gain by going back to something that you've outgrown? The Stoic secrets encourage us to understand that our growth is sacred and should not be compromised for the fleeting comfort of familiarity. Every hardship you've endured, every moment of loneliness or doubt, has been preparing you for a better future. one where you stand stronger and wiser. When you think of looking back, remember that moving forward is an affirmation of the value you found in yourself, an acknowledgement that you are worth more than reliving past pain for a moment of comfort. Reflect on the idea that your personal evolution is a testament to your strength. You are not the same person you were when someone left. You've become someone who has seen and conquered dark times, who has learned what it means to be resilient, embodying an iron mind. The essence of modern Stoicism is to take the lessons of adversity and transform them into stepping stones, not chains that bind you to what was. The allure of revisiting the past can be strong, especially when you feel that familiar pang of nostalgia or wonder if things could have been different. But remember, your journey has taken you too far to risk that progress. You've cultivated an understanding of who you are and what you deserve, and that knowledge is far too precious to compromise. It's a man who, after losing a relationship that he thought was the center of his life, found himself at a crossroads. At first, every part of him wanted to reach back, to rekindle what once was. But through the solitude, he discovered something more valuable: himself. He started new hobbies, found old passions, and reconnected with friends who had long drifted away. Over time, the pain lessened, and he saw that the growth he gained in his hardest times had shaped him into someone he admired. Now, when regret or the past calls, he knows that looking forward is not only the best choice but the one that honors the journey he's taken. This story is not just his. It could be yours. The message is simple yet profound. Value the person you are becoming. As Seneca put it, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Moving forward without looking back is more than a decision. It's a declaration. It's saying to yourself and the world that the trials you've endured have not been in vain, and that you are determined to use them to construct a life that reflects your strength and wisdom. It means taking the pain of the past, not as a burden but as bricks to build a stronger foundation. Your story is not just a series of losses or challenges. It's the sum of how you chose to rise from them. So, when life tempts you to revisit the past, pause and weigh what you stand to lose against what you've gained. Are those old comforts worth risking the strength and peace you fought for? True Stoic lessons teach us that peace and progress come from within, from the unyielding choice to face forward. Let this guide your decisions. The past may be part of your story, but it is not where your story ends. Your life is moving forward, whether you look back or not. Choosing to keep your eyes ahead means you trust that what's coming will be worth the lessons learned and the pain endured. And that, more than anything, is the path to becoming who you were always meant to be. Share your thoughts below by commenting, "Protecting my peace comes first." Let others know that choosing yourself is always the right decision. 5. The importance of protecting your peace. Your time, energy, and love are gifts of immense value, not to be given lightly or without consideration. It's crucial to understand that not everyone who leaves your life deserves the chance to return. When people make the choice to walk away, their decision often reflects how much, or how little, they truly appreciated what you brought to the relationship. By standing firm in your decision to move forward, you're making a powerful declaration that your peace, your hard-won stability, and your well-being are priorities that won't be compromised. This act of protecting your peace isn't just a gesture of self-respect. It's a fundamental practice rooted in Stoic principles that teaches us the importance of valuing ourselves above fleeting emotions or empty promises. Think about it. What does it really mean to protect your peace? It means being discerning about who has access to your life and understanding that your growth and happiness should not be up for negotiation. It's tempting to reopen doors when regret comes knocking, especially when it's accompanied by words that tug at your heart. But ask yourself, is an apology enough? The Stoic rules guide us to judge people not by what they say but by what they do, because actions, more than words, are the true measure of someone's intentions. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote is a reminder that your peace of mind is under your control, and it's your responsibility to shield it from anything or anyone that disrupts it. Now, let's consider a story that illustrates this idea. Picture a man who, after going through a difficult divorce, spent years rebuilding his life. He found peace in new routines, rediscovered old hobbies, and created a circle of supportive friends who lifted him up. One day, his ex-wife, filled with regret, reached out, expressing how she missed what they once had and wanted to try again. In that moment, he felt the pull of nostalgia and the comfort of familiarity, but he paused and reflected on the progress he had made. Would letting her back in mean risking the peace and stability he worked so hard to achieve? He chose to protect his peace, remembering that while forgiveness is noble, allowing someone back into your life should only happen when there's clear evidence of change and respect. This story isn't just his. It's a reminder for anyone who has felt torn between revisiting the past and safeguarding their future. Is protecting your peace so essential, especially in today's fast-paced world? Modern life is filled with noise, distraction, and pressure to maintain connections, even when they're not healthy. But embracing Stoic secrets means prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being above social expectations or the fear of being perceived as harsh. Setting and maintaining boundaries isn't an act of selfishness. It's an act of self-preservation. It sends a clear message to yourself and others. Your peace is sacred, and only those who understand and honor that will have a place in your life. Boundaries are a way of defining what is acceptable and what is not, and they protect you from being pulled into the same cycles that caused you pain before. When you decide to let someone back into your life, do it with eyes wide open and a heart that's cautious but fair. Trust is earned through consistent actions, not just words spoken in moments of regret. Rebuilding trust requires time, effort, and a willingness from both sides to nurture it with care. But if their return only brings apologies without substance, remember that it's your right and your duty to keep the door closed. Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This means that moving forward sometimes involves closing chapters permanently, not out of anger, but out of respect for your own journey and growth. Are the relationships in your life adding to your peace or taking away from it? Are you allowing people in just because they express remorse, or are you holding them to the standard that your peace deserves? The answers to these questions can guide you in making decisions that align with your highest good. Protecting your peace is about being wise enough to recognize who truly deserves to be in your life and brave enough to let go of those who don't. This isn't about being closed off. It's about ensuring that your sanctuary remains intact, a space where you can thrive without unnecessary disruption. This journey as tending to a garden. Your peace is the soil, rich and full of potential, but vulnerable to weeds that can choke the life out of it. Allowing someone back into your life without assessing their intentions is like letting those weeds grow unchecked. But when you prioritize your peace and set boundaries, you are actively nurturing a space where growth and harmony can flourish. Remember that you are the guardian of your well-being, and protecting it means knowing when to say no, even when it's hard. The world may encourage you to forgive and forget quickly, but Stoic principles teach us that true wisdom lies in discerning when forgiveness should lead to reconciliation and when it should lead to closure. Your peace is non-negotiable. It's a declaration that the person you are becoming is too valuable to compromise for anything or anyone that does not uplift or respect you. Embrace this Stoic mindset and let it guide your choices. Protecting your peace is an ongoing practice, one that requires courage, self-awareness, and a commitment to valuing yourself above all else. The question isn't just whether they deserve another chance. It's whether allowing them back honors the peace you fought so hard to build. 6. Making room for those who deserve you. Choosing who deserves a place in your life is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. When you let go of people who didn't appreciate your worth, you're not just clearing out the past. You're making space for meaningful, genuine connections that are built on mutual respect, understanding, and true appreciation. It's essential to be surrounded by people who lift you up, rather than pull you into the same old cycles that stifle your growth and peace of mind. As you think about who belongs in your life, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This quote is a reminder that the company you keep and the energy you allow into your space have a profound impact on your outlook and mindset. The people around you can either nourish your growth or drain your spirit, so choose carefully. This is more than just cutting people off. It's about understanding when someone's role in your life has run its course and having the courage to move forward. When you allowed someone to remain in your life, even when they showed, time and time again, that they didn't value what you brought to the table. How did that affect your sense of self-worth and peace? Modern Stoicism teaches us that boundaries are not just acts of self-preservation, they're acts of self-respect. By releasing those who fail to appreciate you, you invite the possibility for more supportive and enriching relationships to take root. Are you making room for the people who elevate you, or are you holding on to those who dim your light? This is an important question to ask yourself as you assess the relationships in your life. The ones that matter will show their value consistently, without needing a wake-up call of losing you to realize it. Letting go isn't about bitterness or closing yourself off from love and friendship. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you only share your time and energy with those who see it and cherish it. Life is too short to spend it with people who make you question your own value. When you let go of those who don't deserve you, you're making space for people who do, people who respect your journey and contribute positively to it. This aligns with one of the greatest Stoic principles. Focus on what you can control and release what you cannot. You can't control how others see you or if they appreciate you, but you can control who has the privilege of being part of your life. Sometimes, this means having the strength to let go of comfort and familiarity, to make room for what aligns with your values and aspirations. Think about a time when you stayed in a friendship or relationship out of habit or fear of being alone, even though it was clear that it didn't serve you. Did it make you feel more connected or more isolated? By holding on to connections that no longer contribute to your well-being, you're keeping yourself anchored to the past and missing out on the opportunities that await you. The most fulfilling relationships are those where both people value and uplift each other without needing reminders or the threat of losing one another. How much more enriching would your life be if you reserved space only for those who deserve it, those who bring light, support, and positivity into your journey? Letting go of people who didn't see your worth isn't easy, especially when there are memories and shared experiences. But clinging to what no longer serves you is like trying to grow in soil that's depleted. Making room for those who deserve you is about choosing better for yourself. Not just better company, but a better state of mind and a better life overall. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You have the power to choose your environment and the people who influence it. If someone's presence brings you more stress than joy, it might be time to reconsider their place in your life. This doesn't mean you harbor resentment or anger. It simply means you're prioritizing your well-being, which is essential for true peace and happiness. Elevating your circle means surrounding yourself with people who don't need to lose you to understand your worth. These are the people who contribute to your growth, who push you to be better and who celebrate your victories as if they were their own. When you protect your space and ensure that only those who deserve you have access, you're not only enriching your own life, but also setting a powerful example for others. You're showing that it's okay to have standards, that it's okay to choose who is in your life based on who supports your journey, not just who happens to be around. This is one of the most valuable Stoic lessons, to protect your peace and cultivate a life that aligns with your values and goals. So ask yourself, who in your life truly deserves you? Who lifts you up and reflects the values you hold dear? And who, if they were gone, would only leave room for someone better suited to be there? Let these questions guide you as you evaluate your relationships. Make the choice to surround yourself with people who see and appreciate you for who you are, not for who they think you should be. or only after they've lost you. Protecting your peace isn't just a choice. It's a commitment to yourself, one that acknowledges your worth and sets the stage for a life filled with meaningful, supportive, and uplifting connections. 7. Understanding the consequences of their actions. When someone decides to leave your life, the weight of that choice becomes theirs to bear, and the realization of what they lost is something they must come to terms with on their own. This burden is theirs to carry and not something for you to fix or soothe. Your priority is to protect your growth and continue down the path that's taken so much work to build. Let's be honest. Regret is a powerful motivator and can often push someone to try and re-enter your life. But it should never be the only reason you consider letting them back. This is where the wisdom of Stoic principles comes into play, reminding us that maintaining boundaries is essential for preserving emotional health and inner peace. Think about what happens when someone suddenly sees your value after it's too late. It's tempting to take that acknowledgement as validation, but here's the truth. If someone didn't value you when they had the chance, why should their late remorse be your responsibility? This distinction is essential because allowing someone back based on regret alone risks undoing your progress. You've put in the effort to heal, to grow, and to cultivate a sense of peace that no one should be able to disrupt without proving they've changed in a meaningful way. It's not about being unforgiving. It's about prioritizing your well-being and standing firm in the standards you've set for yourself. This is where the lessons of modern Stoicism can help guide your choices, teaching you to evaluate actions over mere words and to remain true to the boundaries you've established for your own good. A man who has spent years rebuilding his life after a difficult breakup might one day receive a message or a call filled with apologies from the person who once walked away. The emotions stirred by that contact can be complex: nostalgia, curiosity, even a fleeting sense of victory. But before responding, pause and ask yourself, has their realization come with genuine change, or is it just an attempt to soothe their conscience? This is not a question of revenge or proving a point. It's about protecting what you've built. Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." If they couldn't recognize your worth when they had you, it's essential to question whether they're ready to honor it now. Are you willing to risk your peace for someone whose appreciation came only after facing the void of your absence? Holding firm in your decision to keep moving forward, even when regret knocks on your door, is a testament to the strength you've cultivated. Your peace, your stability, and your growth are worth safeguarding. By choosing not to let someone's regret manipulate your path, you're sending a clear message. Your time and energy are valuable and not up for negotiation based on someone else's late realization. This act of self-respect is more than just a boundary. It's a declaration of the lessons you've learned and the standards you've set for yourself. Maintaining this stance doesn't mean you close off to new relationships or become cynical. It means that you understand the importance of allowing only those who contribute positively to your life to share your space. So, how do you respond when faced with the remorse of someone who left? You take a step back and assess whether their return aligns with the principles that guide your life now. Are they coming back with actions that reflect growth, or are they seeking comfort without taking responsibility? The answer will guide you. Remember, the realization of what they've lost is theirs to process, not yours to repair. If they come back with genuine change and humility, only then does it warrant consideration. But even then, it must be on terms that respect your journey and protect your peace. Because at the end of the day, their regret is a consequence of their actions, not an open invitation to rewrite your story. In the words of Epictetus, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. You are in control of your reactions, your choices, and who you allow into your life. Letting someone back should be an exception rooted in growth and mutual understanding, not a reflex fueled by their sudden awareness. Protect your peace, hold on to the strength you've gained, and remember that your growth is worth more than the comfort of the familiar. Prioritize those who see your value from the start, not just when they're faced with the loss of it. 8. The temptation to revisit the past. The pull to revisit the past, especially when today feels uncertain and tomorrow looks unknown, is powerful. It's the lure of familiarity, of emotions and moments that once made you feel secure. But true growth requires moving beyond that comfort zone and embracing what lies ahead, even if it's daunting. Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This reminder is key when you're tempted to turn back to what once was. The past holds lessons, yes, but it also carries reasons why things didn't work out. Before you even consider reopening those old doors, take a moment to assess the roots of why things ended in the first place. Have those issues been resolved, or are they just buried beneath a thin layer of regret? This is crucial, because entertaining the past without true change risks undoing all the progress you've made. Are you willing to compromise the person you've become for someone who only now realizes your worth? Next, think about this. Why should you give someone who once overlooked or undervalued you a second chance? Is it for the comfort of shared history or the hope that things will be different this time? If the answer compromises your personal growth, then stepping back is the best decision. There's a story that echoes this point. A man who, after years of being in a relationship where he was taken for granted, finally walked away and found himself again. He poured energy into his health, rekindled old hobbies, and discovered new passions. Years later, his ex reached out, expressing regret and longing for the past they shared. He felt the pull of familiarity, the temptation to revisit those memories, but he paused and asked himself if going back would honor the person he had become or only serve the comfort of who he used to be. In that pause, he realized that his growth meant more than reviving a chapter that had already taught him its lessons. So, what do you do when faced with the allure of old comforts and past connections? You ask yourself the hard questions. Has this person truly changed, or do they just miss the way you made them feel? Are you revisiting the past because you believe in their growth, or because the present feels uncertain and the future even more so? The answers to these questions can guide you to make a choice that aligns with your path forward, not backward. Because true Stoic principles teach that your future should be shaped by the wisdom of your past, not shackled by it. Growth means learning the lessons, applying them, and stepping into the future with courage, not regressing into old patterns that once held you back. Remember that growth is not a straight line. It's a process that requires resilience and sometimes difficult decisions. There's a reason the past is behind you. The challenge is to carry forward what it taught you without letting it dictate your future. You deserve relationships and opportunities that meet you at the level of the person you've worked so hard to become. It's not about holding grudges or refusing to forgive. Forgiveness is freeing, but it doesn't mean reopening doors that were closed for a reason. It's easy to let nostalgia trick you into thinking that returning to something familiar is progress. But ask yourself, is revisiting the past going to help you grow, or will it pull you back into old habits and patterns that no longer serve you? If you've evolved, you need relationships that support that evolution, not ones that remind you of who you used to be. Growth means acknowledging the past for what it taught you, but understanding that your journey doesn't need to loop back to validate it. It's about respecting yourself enough to know that your energy and time are too valuable to be given to anyone who didn't appreciate them when they had the chance. Choosing not to go back isn't an act of bitterness or pride. It's an act of self-respect. It's saying to yourself that the person you're becoming deserves more than a repeat of old patterns. Your life should be filled with people and experiences that recognize your value without needing to lose you to see it. In the end, if revisiting the past compromises the progress you've made, it simply isn't worth it. True Stoic lessons emphasize that growth involves carrying forward what strengthens you and letting go of what doesn't. You have the wisdom of the experiences behind you and the power of choice in front of you. Use them to craft a future that reflects the lessons you've learned, the peace you've earned, and the growth you refuse to compromise. If you've ever stood firm in your worth and kept moving forward, type, "I value myself," in the comments. Your choice to grow can inspire someone else today. 9. Standing firm in your decision. Standing firm in the boundaries you set for yourself is one of the most powerful affirmations of self-worth you can make, especially when faced with someone who once overlooked your value and now wants to come back into your life. It's not uncommon to feel a pull when emotions are involved. Memories flood in, nostalgia whispers that maybe things could be different, and hope dares you to reconsider. But in these moments, remember the standards you have built and the growth you have fought to achieve. Saying no is hard, especially when the easier path seems to be to forgive and revert to what was familiar, but that doesn't mean it's the right choice for you. Let those thoughts be clear, strong, and centered on your well-being. Embracing the reality that life is meant to move forward, not backward, helps you maintain focus on what truly matters. How can you build a life of peace and fulfillment if you're always revisiting chapters that once made you doubt yourself? Think for a moment about the importance of protecting what you've built. Every step you've taken to move past old hurts, every boundary you've established has been part of shaping the person you are today. Standing firm in your decision to uphold those boundaries is an act of respect to yourself, a message that says, "I value who I am and what I deserve." It's not about being unkind or shutting people out. It's about recognizing that your energy, time, and emotional investment are worth more than half-hearted apologies or belated realizations. How many times have you let someone's regret or remorse overshadow the peace you've worked to reclaim, only to find yourself stuck in the same cycle of disappointment? This is where understanding Stoic principles can truly help guide your choices. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your reaction to someone seeking a second chance should be grounded not in what they say, but in how their actions align with your expectations and standards. This isn't about being cold-hearted. It's about having a deep understanding of your worth and choosing not to compromise it. It's about recognizing that true growth means learning the lessons the past offered and using them to build a stronger, wiser version of yourself. When someone who once left comes back with regret, you owe it to yourself to question their intentions and the impact their return could have on your life. Are they coming back because they genuinely see your value and have made changes to prove it? Or is their return driven by the realization that they lost something precious only after it was gone? As Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This powerful reminder emphasizes that moving forward doesn't always mean holding on to what once was. Sometimes it means letting it go to make room for something better, aligned with who you are now. Think about how this applies to your life. Are you revisiting old relationships or patterns that don't align with your current standards just because they are familiar? Modern Stoicism teaches that growth isn't just about enduring hardship, but about using the wisdom gained to make better choices in the future. Your boundaries are there to protect you, to keep your peace intact, and to ensure that only those who truly deserve you have access to your time and energy. If someone's return doesn't align with the standards you've set and the peace you've fought for, it's okay to keep that door closed. That choice is not a failure of forgiveness. It's a victory of self-respect. Maintaining your commitment to your growth isn't about cutting people off without thought. It's about knowing when letting someone back in would undo the progress you've made. It's a declaration that your journey, your peace, and your future are too valuable to compromise for someone whose actions once said otherwise. The reality is that relationships should elevate you, not anchor you to old wounds. Does reopening this chapter serve the person you are now, or does it cater to who you used to be? Marcus Aurelius's wisdom guides us here once more. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Use that power to stay aligned with your values, your goals, and the peace that comes from knowing you are in control of your life. Protecting your peace and upholding your standards isn't selfish. It's essential. You deserve to be surrounded by people who value you not just in hindsight, but from the start. People whose presence uplifts rather than disrupts your life. By standing firm in your decision, you are reinforcing the idea that you are worth the respect and effort you give to others. Let this serve as a reminder that saying no to what doesn't align with your growth is a powerful act of self-love. And in doing so, you create space for new opportunities, relationships, and experiences that truly honor the person you are now and the future you're working to build. 10. The strength in moving on. Every new chapter in life brings the chance to grow, evolve, and build a future that is free from the weight of past hurts. Moving on isn't just about letting go. It's an act of profound strength that acknowledges the lessons learned and turns them into stepping stones for a better, more fulfilling life. Choosing yourself over the regret of someone who once failed to see your worth isn't just an act of self-care. It's an affirmation of your self-respect and the understanding that your peace is priceless. Seneca put it best when he said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This wisdom underscores the importance of viewing the end of past relationships not as a loss, but as the start of a new chapter, one that aligns with your growth, values, and sense of self-worth. By embracing this mindset, you prioritize your peace and happiness, two cornerstones essential for your sustained well-being and inner strength. In today's fast-paced, often demanding world, the idea of moving on can feel challenging, especially when memories tug at your heart and nostalgia tempts you to reconsider. Yet moving forward is the ultimate testament to your resilience and growth. It's about understanding that you've come too far to let old chapters define your future. Think about the strength you've built through every challenge you've faced. The late nights when doubts crept in, the moments when you had to push forward despite the heaviness of your heart. Each experience has added to your fortitude, and this strength is what propels you forward, even when looking back feels easier. Have you ever wondered what possibilities could open up if you stopped revisiting old stories and focused on writing new ones? The potential for happiness, peace, and fulfillment lies ahead, not in the shadows of what's already passed. Choosing to prioritize yourself doesn't mean you're being selfish or unkind. It means you recognize your worth and refuse to let anyone or anything compromise the peace you've worked so hard to attain. You deserve relationships and experiences that honor who you are today, not just who you were when someone else didn't fully appreciate you. This is where the lessons of Stoic philosophy come into play, reminding us that true strength is found not in clinging to the past, but in walking away when necessary. Applying this wisdom means that while you can't control someone else's regrets or realizations, you can control how you choose to respond. Your power lies in deciding to move on and shape a future that aligns with your values and dreams. Each day is an opportunity to invest in yourself and the life you want to create. When you choose to let go of what no longer serves you, you make room for what does. There's strength in acknowledging that some relationships or experiences, while meaningful in their time, have no place in the life you're building now. Clinging to the past is like trying to sail forward while being anchored. It slows your progress and keeps you tied to places you've already outgrown. Appreciate the road you've traveled, with all its twists and turns, because it has shaped the person you are today. The strength you've built through adversity isn't just a badge of honor. It's a shield that protects you as you make choices that align with your highest good. Protecting your heart and peace means learning to say no to what disrupts them, even when it's difficult. As you move forward, let go of the need to revisit old chapters that no longer align with who you are. Instead, let those memories be lessons and stories that you've learned from, not places you live in. Growth means acknowledging that while the past played a role in your story, it doesn't have to dictate your future. You deserve to look ahead with hope and confidence, knowing that the best is yet to come. After all, you've grown beyond the past, and when you stand firm in choosing your own path, you open the door to possibilities far greater than anything left behind. As we wrap up this video, remember this. You deserve someone who sees your worth from the very beginning, not someone who needs a second chance to understand it. Close the door on those who overlooked your value and move forward toward a future where you are truly cherished and respected. Celebrate your journey. Your resilience, growth, and progress are what define you and set the stage for what comes next. If you found this message meaningful, please take a moment to like this video, share it with others who might need to hear it, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos filled with insights and inspiration. Thank you for watching, and keep striving for your best life.